Hello everyone, this is Mihir Thakur, and just bear with me for 1 second as I get the display correct. So I can see quite few of you are joining in. Big welcome to Fletcher, Helen, Joel, Karina, Martha, Miro, and Debbie. We're gonna wait for quite a few more attendees, and we will kick off in just about a few minutes. Can everyone hear me all right? If you can just type in your chat window, that'd be really appreciated so that I know, should I speak louder or is this correct? Thanks, Karina. Thank you. I know some of you are complaining that the screen is weird. It will be all perfect and normal in few seconds. So just bear with me as I get this thing rolling. While we wait, I just want to know a little bit more about you guys. So if you can just type in where you are from and what is it that you do. So that way I get to know you a bit more before we start off. Thanks, Joel. Thanks, Miro. So how many of you are from Melbourne? Thanks, Miro. Thanks, Deb. Thanks, Joel. That's very interesting work that you do. Hi, Karina. Thanks, Martha. Helen, looks like I missed your chat. It says I am. Fletcher, thank you. You're a graphic designer. That's great. Have I missed anyone on this call? All right, beautiful. Thanks everyone for being on this call this evening and taking time out of your busy routine and busy schedules. So I promise to make it as entertaining and as content-packed as possible, and things that you can absolutely walk away with at the end of this call and make a change to your business and the lives of those around you. So in case you need to know which flight you are on the Using Your Heart for High Value Sales flight. And it's going to be, we plan to go for about 60 to 90 minutes or less. And essentially, there's a lot to cover. There's a lot that I want to share with you. So feel free to take notes. Feel free to use that in your life immediately after the session. Okay. So the broad areas that I want to touch upon in today's session are essentially understanding that how connecting and using your heart. Now, I'm using the word heart in a very specific sense that I'll get to a little bit later during the call. So how you can use your heart and essentially your ability to kinesthetically feel things in life in working with your prospects, and how that can actually help you in your value creation and sales process immediately. Okay. Now, the second thing that I want to go and express and cover in this call is how I myself went from charging up less than $1,000 a month to over $7,500 a month in just the coaching business. So I know that many of you are in the graphic designer business or naturopath or relationship coaching and other areas and spiritual coaching. However, the model that I'm going to share with you is something that you can apply in any area. So essentially, if you are in the business of sales, if your business relies on working with people in a service-based industry, then this is definitely something that you need to pay attention to, and how you can grow your business and with less effort. Actually, that's the key aspect of this process. And the final thing that I want to touch upon in a broader sense is that what are the key steps that you can use right away in your sales process and increase your conversions at higher points. So because I've heard from quite a few people that many of you have good access to leads, but you are not able to convert at higher price points. So that is one of the key areas that we want to talk about, and we want to delve into a little bit deeper. Okay, so that's the broad plan, but we'll make it more and more fine-tuned as we go along. Now, apart from my name, which is probably a bit weird sounding for many of you, my name is Mihir Thakur, and the easiest way for you to remember that is me here, like I am here, so me here. I won't be offended if you botch it up, that's fine, it's absolutely cool, but just to introduce a little bit more about who am I and what I do. So essentially, I typically work with coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, small business owners, and service providers who essentially have the challenge of not being able to charge the rates that match their services, or are unable to grow their businesses. Okay, and I do that in terms of working with them in a coaching, mentoring, strategizing with them on their business and mindset strategies to help them reach their goals pretty rapidly. Right. So just to put it a little bit differently, if I were to give you a snapshot, like if you were to say, Mihir, tell me what have you accomplished and achieved over the last year or so. Essentially, the best testament for the work that I have done is through the work that I have done through my clients. And over the last 6 months, I've had the privilege of working with some amazing business owners. I've taken 6 businesses from under 200K to over 1 million in under 6 months. And I've helped my clients go from 197 an hour to 2,500 per month in less than 2 months for 75% less effort. And actually, I have a few of those clients on this call today, so I'll be talking about them, and they have gracefully allowed me to share their work and their testimonials on this call. So you'll be hearing from them shortly. And the other thing that is, there are many results, but these are some of the key things that I want to share, not to brag about the results, but primarily to share that this is something that there are people out there in the service industry who can achieve these results pretty quickly if they are able to use their heart and if they are able to use the proper structure in dealing with their clients properly, right? So there is a client who is actually on the call as well, who has achieved his 12 months goal in under 2 months. And there is another client who has achieved over 1,000% increase in their customer base in just 30 days. So there are many such results, like creating 6-figure cash flow within 72 hours. And there was one person who was just absolutely committed on becoming the most recognized blogger, or wanted to work with Arianna Huffington, for those of you who know about Huffington Post. So she was keen on connecting with her and furthering her woman's support and change process that she was keen on implementing in her personal life and in her personal practice. So she is somebody who's already now blogging quite popularly on Huffington Post. So these are some different results that I have been privileged to be a part of in my client's life over the last 12 to 18 months. So one of the key compelling reasons why we are here tonight was that over the last 7 to 8 years that I've been in this country, I've had the absolute pleasure of working with some amazingly gifted practitioners, be it coaches, consultants, health shop owners, natural or alternative health practitioners, coaches, and they are doing an amazing service. Okay, they are absolutely doing an amazing service, but many of them are financially struggling. They are struggling because they just are not able to sell properly or sell well from their heart. And this is something that bothers me at many levels. That there are so many people probably on this call as well who you know that you do an amazing service when you work with your clients. You have the gift of your craft, but for some reason, just that it is not being communicated, it is not being received, and it is not landing. And as a result of that, you're paying a financial penalty to be able to do that. Now, I believe that as a planet, as a community, we are moving into a much more of a conscious, much more of an expanded and a more aware type of an environment. And it's important that the right people who are able to create this change are given the opportunity to be able to succeed in whatever it is that they do want to do, right? So I think it's important that we have this conversation tonight so that we can, it's about time that we change this, so that the people who are actually gifted with their services, who are doing an amazing job, can go about doing this in a very ethical way, and at the same time be conscious capitalists to a certain degree. So this is the primary reason why I am here tonight, to be able to share how I have created this in my own life, and this is something that a gift that I want to share with everybody on this call. So I know many of you are extremely successful in whatever it is that you do, and I do want to share that using your heart will only make it a lot more beautiful, a lot more connected and deeper, and more in line with your real truth and your higher purpose. So that's why this is an open-ended conversation that I want to have with the amazing people who are on this call today. So in terms of where I started, for me, my journey, not to be, and what I'm about to share is not to be dramatic, but at the same time, I want to highlight the importance of how there is a gift that lies in each and every one of us. There is a gift of this heart that we have all been given, but many a times when we don't use it, how we are actually squandering that gift away, and how we are not able to find the successes that we are deeply, really deserving and we are looking for. Okay, so for me, my journey started way back in India, And I grew up in some of these pretty horrid places, okay? These were our high-rise apartments out there, and these are no bigger than 200 square feet. So I grew up in a place like this, pretty much similar, close to the slums, almost there. And we had about 14 people in my house, my grandparents, uncles, aunts, everybody. And you can see the picture on the right is the view of my playground, where my position, I used to play cricket in that kind of an environment, and my position was the long off position. I was quite good in that place. So my journey started somewhere in there. And what you see here is this is my study area where I did my high school, my education, and 4 years of engineering college, and graduated with honors from that environment. Now, I must tell you that all along it wasn't easy, but there was something that was just absolutely guiding my process, that was guiding my heart. Okay, like for me, the only reason that I would go to school in a class was that there were 90 kids that I could hang out with and have a great time. Okay? So somehow these environments, they always bring out the best in you. And for me, the thing that became extremely clear was that my heart, my ability to kinesthetically feel my environment, kept getting sharper and sharper and sharper every day. So when you are in an environment where survival is at stake, a part of your being just absolutely becomes ready to be on edge all the time, or is aware of what needs to happen, or is aware of what needs to change, right? And it's just always watching out, is always feeling things. So being able to feel my environment was one of the biggest gifts that I extracted out of these situations. However, there was something else that was actually running in the background, which I didn't realize up until a few years ago when I was able to put two and two together, saying that, oh wow, I didn't realize that this was happening. All along, there were a series of events that would happen at every few months or every few years at critical points in my life, when suddenly out of the blue, mentors or people who wanted to support me, who had my highest intention, they just out of the willingness and the goodness of their heart, they would just show up in my life. Okay? And whenever they would show up, beautiful things would happen for me. So financially, my family was struggling. And somehow, for 4 years of my education, there were 4 key people who suddenly showed up and paid my education college fees for each and every year. And I'm so eternally grateful that because of them, I am here in my life today. So all along, there was this intuition, there was this guidance, there was something deeper within me that would just keep guiding and nudging me to take the right set of actions. That would kind of, you know, just when you're going on that road and something says go left, but then your heart says, don't go there, just go right. You know, so it was something of that nature that dropped me into the right places with the right people, and it would keep tuning it. The only thing I can credit myself with in being able to experience that change was that I was listening to my heart all along. I was listening to that guidance all along. And it wasn't until later in my life where I actually started learning the process of how to go about consciously doing it. That's when things really started to shift. Right? So cut to what happened at the end of that, my engineering life in India, was that suddenly I got a full scholarship and I was transported to this amazing university in America. So coming from that place where I did not even have a room in my house, to have your own room was an absolute miracle. I was like, oh wow, I have a room now and I can be in this space. And again, that endless series of people and mentor and individuals who were responsible for changing my life, it just kept snowballing, one thing after the other, to the point that I eventually I met my wife at one of the retreats that I was attending, and I ended up in Australia 7 years ago. So I did not realize that even though I was qualifying to become an engineer, so I had my master's in wireless and communication engineering, and then I joined Telstra, I realized all along that there was a parallel life that I was running behind the scenes. Because I grew up in in an environment that was spiritually very stimulating. There was something about it that would make my heart bloom. Okay, for me, my escape from my daily life was to just go out, sit on the rooftop, look at the broad skies, the beautiful skies, and then just appreciate and be grateful that, wow, there is something so beautiful that is beyond me, that is touching my heart here. And all of that was actually, all of that was a result of me being exposed to the works of some amazingly spiritual heavyweights like Paramahansa Yogananda, if those of you who have heard of him in the spiritual world, and then the works of Irmansya Effendi, who is the founder of the Open Heart practice. And to the point, I was so influenced by these things outside of my corporate, heavy engineering-based life, that I decided to become a healer. I decided to be in that healing space, and I decided to also keep improving on my spiritual connection with myself, with my heart, with my higher consciousness, as whatever people call it, right? And I thought, okay, maybe if I keep doing this, then maybe someday I will be able to contribute to people's life in a much bigger way. And through that healing business, so-called business that I was trying to run, there was a lot of fulfillment. But for some reason, what I found was success was really still elusive. I was hanging out with a lot of practitioners, a lot of healers, a lot of coaches and consultants who were saying things, but they did not have the results to prove that in their own life. And at one point, I too was actually living that life with them. All right. The key thing that I saw in that process was that there were too many limiting beliefs around spirituality, around business, around money, around heart. A lot of these things were actually not contributing to the well-being of their own lives and their own businesses, right? And on the external side of it, because given that I had a very strong analytical aspect to my engineering degree and to my engineering side, I was looking at the business strategies that were being implemented. And the business strategies were powerfully and equally bad, right? So there were too few things that were standing out in my own mind, because I was trying to be successful in my own way, and I was trying to work with people who wanted that same level of success. There were many coaches, entrepreneurs, consultants who were deeply undervalued. And quite often I would sit with a client, I would sit with another coach who would be guiding their client or working with the client, and I would see that there were so many things that were absolutely obvious about the lead, about the client who was there in front of them. But for some reason, this coach was not actually saying it out. For some reason, the coach was absolutely just hiding behind those things. I'm like, why are you not saying these things? What would happen if you were to say these things to your potential client? He said, oh, sorry, I cannot say these things because if I say it, then it would offend my potential lead, and they would run away from me and they wouldn't do business with me. So that was their biggest fear. And then there were many others who just didn't know, who just did not have the good strategies in terms of creating a powerful business, in being able to communicate their value, right? So all these things were happening in my life, and I'm during my daytime I'm working in a corporation, and at nighttime and weekends I'm doing this healing work, and I'm trying to run this as a business, trying to be successful, and it just wasn't kicking in. But all along, my heart was just there, and when I would be switching from one aspect to the other. So when I would go into work, I would become a business minded person. When I would be doing my healing work, I would be connected with my heart, and the healing sessions would be extremely powerful, right? To the point that I thought, oh, maybe I should also learn how to become a coach. I could be a business coach, I could be a life coach or a spiritual coach. So I started practicing and doing all these things differently. And what was happening really, the challenges that I know many of you actually on this call are experiencing, is that I just simply wasn't able to charge higher rates. Okay, I would go on that hourly model. Or if I got a client who would pay me $100 an hour, that was considered like, wow, this is amazing. And if the client would say, oh, I want to work with you over the next 4 weeks, I'm like, wow, $400 a month, that was amazing, right? So I just did not know how could I find these high-paying clients. And as a result of that, you can imagine, I mean, when you're doing a service-based business, if you're exchanging time for dollars, there is only so much you can do. So business was absolutely stuck at the same level. And at the same time, there were a lot of these low-paying clients who were actually taking 80% of my time for 20% of the income that they were providing to me. So I was drained, to be honest. I was absolutely drained at the end of it. But my heart still felt good about providing the service, but my body and my mind and a lot of my business wasn't able to keep up with those intentions around me. And then I realized that at the end of the day, I just couldn't sell genuinely, right? I just either it would be one of these two things. When I would be providing my service to my clients, I would be absolutely blissed out like a Buddha. I was just sitting there and just doing the healing work and doing the coaching aspects of it and just sharing and teaching them. But when it came to asking for money or being in the sales space, I would be absolutely like a mouse trying to hide behind everything. Like, oh, do I have to bring this up? Why can't they read my mind? Why can't they just give me the money and just help me be on my way, so I can keep doing what I love doing? And that's when it just sunk in at that point that for me, sales was actually a four-letter word. Okay, because what I had seen and heard about sales was that there are just too many snake oil dealers out there. There were too many people who were slick at sales, but were extremely bad at fulfillment. So I would go to all these seminars, I would go to all these events where people would be selling a lot of stuff, all right? And they would be like so slick. They would have mastered the art of actually taking you through this process and sequence, and they would be just sticking you with something that you probably did not have a need for, or something that just wasn't right for you, right? So they would be selling it, but they were extremely bad at even fulfilling whatever they had promised at the end of it. And there was a lot of hype and hope and promises instead of real results, right? So, like, how many of you have heard the statement that for most people on this planet, hopium is the drug of choice, So that's what I had bought into. And then essentially the value of something was equated to how good they were able to sell. So if a product was sold well, it just didn't matter whether the product itself had any value, right? So for me, all those things led me to a point in my life that I saw that the other thing that I saw that there was a lot of effort in the sales process. There was a lot of struggle. People were struggling hard, and that's why it ended up being a lot more icky of an experience. And this actually, because it's something about this did not sit well with the integrity of my heart and being. I'm like, why is it that I feel so odd when I go into these sales processes? Why is it that I'm not able to have the results that I want to create for others, that I don't have it for myself at that point? Right? So I did go through quite a bit of sales training as well, but a lot of that I just discarded it because it was designed on a model of a fear-based model, as I would say, like creating a process, creating an environment where the customer feels absolutely afraid and threatened, and that they have to end up buying something as a result of that. And if you did not do that, basically you were doomed for eternity. That was the pitch that was being done, right? So for me, it became like, okay, what is it that I'm really missing in this picture? What is it that I am not paying attention to? How can I be different in this environment? How can I be like the lotus that that floats on muddy water but is still radiant? How can I still maintain the integrity of my being? How can I maintain the integrity of my coaching, my sales processes, and from a heart-based space? And as I went deeper and deeper and deeper, things started to just somehow they started to coagulate. They started to connect with each other, right? And then at one point, when things were getting more and more clear, there was a process, there was an aspect of the sales thing that became very clear. And that was the time that magic absolutely happened for me. Okay, I went from charging $250 per session, which by the way was a big thing for me to charge $250 itself, to $7,500 to $10,000 per month at 75% lesser effort. All right, so one of the key master key lesson that I had forgotten in my process was that initially what I had thought, that my heart was one aspect, that I had to just use it when I'm working with my clients, and my business was another aspect, right? But I had forgotten that actually my heart and business were supposed to support each other. The substrate of my business should be the heart, should be the integrity of it. And then how can I use my heart in the business process and bring about the real terrific change that I'm looking for within myself and within my clients as well? How can I do that? So that's when I started combining the best of sales process that I had learned from some high integrity coaches along the way. And I started bringing in all the spiritual learning and education that I had put myself through from childhood. I was born in that environment of being able to feel things and how to communicate that more effectively. Yeah. So at that point is when I started teaching my clients. I started teaching them how to combine the best of sales and hard skills for not getting the high valued client, but actually creating the perfect high valued client. And this is precisely what I wanted to share with you tonight, right? Because when I started trialing this out on many of my clients, and I started initially by charging $1,000 a month. And when I tried the process out, the clients, she said, "Oh, my first lead when I sat with her, and I said, look, as a result of all this, would you be okay if you paid $1,000 a month?" And she said, "Yes." I was a bit surprised, and it felt, it feels natural. Okay, I started increasing the price points again. And then I started playing this more as a game because I was not attached to the outcome. I was like, okay, if it happens, great. If it does not happen, great. Let's see how far and how well we can play. And as I started doing that more and more from a place of integrity, from a place of heart, in order to really serve the client for their highest needs, there were a lot of nuances of the process that became extremely clear. Okay. And as a result of that, when I started doing this with my clients, and they started applying it with their own clients, magic really started to happen. So I just want to talk a little bit about one of my clients, Debbie Sita, who's actually on this call. So hi, Debbie. And so she was somebody who was a spiritual healer and a coach as well. So she started she was doing her work at $197 per session, and she ended up within few weeks of working together, she ended up at $2,500 a month. Okay, so currently she is on track, and this has been less than 6 months. So currently she is on track for creating a six-figure business in under 6 months. And right now, the problem and the challenge that she is experiencing is that she has too many clients and she doesn't want to work with them because it's her clientele is full. So I just wanted you to hear a little bit about what she. Sorry.
Hi, Debbie Zito from UnlockYourBestLife.com here. I just wanted to send a massive thank you to Yumi here because I was looking for a business coach for a very long time. As you know, I work in the space of coaching women entrepreneurs to live the life of their dream and create a business of their dreams. And in the last 4 weeks since we've been working together, I've been able to effortlessly and in stress-free manner been able to generate over $8,000 worth of coaching clients, which is something that I've never ever been able to do in such a short period of time and with such ease. And I've been working in that space for about 3 years and never knew how to actually approach clients and be able to let them know easily what it is that I do. And since working with you, not only have I been able to generate sales like that, but I'm a lot more clear on my purpose and my mission, a lot more clear on who it is that I'm here to serve and work for. And it's something that I've been dreaming about, is to be able to have my own business and be able to do what I love to do every single day. And I'm just so grateful to have you in my life, and I'm just, thank you so much for all the help that you've given to me. And if anyone is thinking about working with Mihir, whether it's in a workshop environment or one-on-one, I can't recommend Mihir highly enough. He's truly an angel, so just go for it. Thank you so much. Bye.
So thank you for calling me an angel. I think that's the key takeaway from all that, all of you. Just kidding. So here again, so for me, just finding the right set of mentors who were ready, who showed up when I was ready. And I ended up working with the likes of Jeffrey Slater, Kane Minkus, who've been on some of the world's biggest stages with Sir Richard Branson, Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki. So I ended up being coached by them, and also by their coaches, actually. So Carl Buchheit, Brian Franklin, Jennifer Russell, Michelle Masters, and Alicia Marini, Ralph Anania, and a good friend of mine, actually, who's also on this call right now, Miro Samuel. So these are some of the amazing individuals that have helped create the success that I'm actually experiencing in my life today. And from a spiritual growth point of view, the individuals that have contributed massively to the heart space have been Paramahansa Yogananda and Irmansya Effendi. So as a result of all that, what it has done for me from where I was, which I've never ever dreamed of, like these are all the amazing clients that I've worked with. And for those of you who may have been bombarded with my Facebook ads for the money experience system, this is one of the workshops that I conducted. And I've had the pleasure, the privilege to be able to travel to overseas and meet a lot of people in different countries and do my work and extend my heart-based work there in a very business-centric way, and being able to combine both of those worlds that I love working with. So being able to make the money that you want, being able to have the heart behind it, and most importantly, create the change, a result extremely rapidly. So I think I consider myself a little bit impatient of a coach when it comes to that, I have to see the results within a few weeks of working with my clients. So as an action, as a game plan for tonight, so here are some of the key things that I feel would be of amazing value for you to just start sitting in and saying that, okay, what if some of these things are not true? What if one of the key areas that I want to touch on is the 3 myths of high-paying clients. Okay, over the years that I've had the interaction with so many coaches, practitioners, and individuals in the sales process, there are some key objections and allegations that individuals make that, oh, these are the things about high-paying clients that I believe to be true. And we will delve a little bit deeper into that tonight. And then second one is how to use your heart to build higher value and price in your sales interactions. Okay, so, and the third one is know what to charge and be okay with it. Okay, so before we deep dive into these sections, I just want to briefly touch upon one of the most it's a very common area that many of you might have heard it over and over again. So if you have heard it, just use this as a reminder. If not, then oh great, this is a new thing for you to consider. So when we look at value creation, okay, here's what I want you to do right now in this very moment. Think about somebody in your life that you absolutely love. Okay, think about somebody who you care about. It could be your child, it could be your pet, it could be a family member, it could be your partner. Okay, think about it. And after having thought about it, tell me how much value would you assign to that person if you were to give a dollar figure on that. Yeah, how much value would you assign to that person? So I'm just going to go for 1 second to the odd weird screen for a second just to see your responses. Would you be able to assign any monetary value to your clients at all, to the people that you love in your life? Would you, if those of you who have a response for this, would you mind just typing it in your chat window, please? So would you be able to assign a monetary value to the one that you love in your life? Thanks, Debbie. Priceless? Yes, Helen. So, yeah, of course you can't measure it. So why is it that when we can't do that for anybody, thanks Silva, that when we can't do that for anyone else, why is it that we are putting a monetary value on ourselves in the first place? Have you asked yourself that? Are you someone who is dear and priceless to someone else in your life? Right? If that's true, if there is somebody who is absolutely in love with you, who loves you like crazy, then why is it that you are assigning a lesser value on yourself and your services and everything that you're providing, right? So in terms of value, what we know to be true is that real value can never, ever, ever be measured, right? Value is always perceived in relation to the problem at hand. So if, let's say, you're running a marathon and if you're running a marathon, and let's say when you go past that bend and you see a group of people waving their water bottles at you, and you are extremely dehydrated, there's a bottle of Gatorade out there, right? I'm sure at that moment the value of that bottle of water becomes extremely high. It becomes priceless, right? So in terms of value creation, this is where your heart really comes in. This is important because it's time to listen up, because customers often don't know the problem that they are dealing with at hand. So when you are sitting with a prospect, with a potential client, and you are sitting in a space of creating value for them, far too often clients come to me with the problem that they think that is the problem, but in reality there is a different problem that's at play, right? A good example would be, let's say at your home, when you go and turn your tap on, suddenly there is water that's coming out that is extremely muddy or dirty, or it's not clean. Now, far too often, and this is, I'm making it too simple, but this is somehow the reality of human condition at times. Far too often, the client would come and say, oh, the tap's not working, or the tap's giving out dirty water. Okay. Is that the reality of the problem? No. The tap's just the conduit through which the water is coming out. So if you were to go down into the source of the water, where this is getting muddy, where this is getting murky, and if you were to fix that, how valuable is that to your client? So in terms of value creation, something that your heart can absolutely show you and help you with is being able to create the right context for your clients. Being able to show to them, saying that, hey, your problem is not here, your problem is there. If you are able to hold that space, if you are able to hold just that clarity, then you have already moved into an amazingly powerful, high value process environment for them. Okay, let me give you another example. There was this university where they created this fictitious game, but they didn't tell the students about it. They said, oh, we have three, and they gave a group of students money to invest in these analyst reports. So what they did was, they said we have three expert analysts from the racing industry, and these three analysts have come up with their own pricing, have come up with their own reports, and they have their projections on, in the upcoming race, these are the 4 horses, and one of them, they're asking for basically how much will you pay for the report that's generated by each of these analysts. And so essentially they said analyst A has projected that the probability of horse number 1 winning is 25%, horse number 2 is 30, horse number 4 is 20, and horse 4 is 25, and so on and so forth. Now, how many of you believe, so essentially at the end of this presentation, what they did was, they said, okay, now it's time for you to invest your money in. Let's say if you were to give your money to one of these analysts for betting on your behalf, which analyst would you give your money to? Okay, so just a quick poll now. Which analyst do you think received, based on the numbers that you see? So if you look at analyst B, analyst B has 65% on horse 1, 20% on horse 2, and then 10 and 5% on the remaining ones. Analyst C has 20% on horse 2 and 80% on horse number 4. Okay, so which analyst do you think received the highest investment from all of his clients? Just type it in the chat window, and let's see quickly what you believe to be true. So how many of you believe that analyst number A got the highest amount of money from the students in the class for investing on his projections? So again, those are not clear. There are 4 distributions. One is 25%, 30%, 20, and 25. So that was analyst A's projection. Analyst B said 65, 20, 10, 5. Analyst C said, I'm not going to say 0, 1 or 3. I'm just going to go for, my projection is that 20% probability for horse number 2 to win, and 80% probability for horse number 4 to win. So which one do you think actually received the most number of highest investment? So just, if you can, just type it in your chat window. I'll just wait for 30 seconds. C, perfect, yeah. Karina, C. Anyone else for A or B? Martha, C. Okay, beautiful. B, Helen, great. Okay, thank you. So, and the correct answer is according to the experiment, it was analyst C. For this one simple reason. Now these were the secret part that wasn't mentioned to the students, that there were all three analysts were absolutely fictitious. There were no analysts out there. They were just created out of the blue. Okay, and one of the key experiments, again, I marvel at those professors in academic circle who do all these mind games with their students and mess it up a little bit. But what they really found, that essentially clarity is what drives value. Okay, and this is one of the most powerful things that your heart can help you to achieve when you're working with your clients. If you can show them very clearly where they are stuck or where their strengths lie, then that is definitely an investment that they will be willing to make in you at that point. So this is something that was an amazing eye-opener when I started looking at these results and saying that, oh, how is it that my clients are getting the results? What is it that my heart is actually showing me? What is it that I'm being able to do that other coaches are not doing? Right? So essentially that is the thing to bear in mind, that if you are not getting the right results, the right response, at some level your clients are actually sitting in a space of ambiguity. And that is why when they are in an ambiguous space, they're not able to invest a lot more in you, because they don't know. If they know, it's like going to a doctor and the doctor says, oh yeah, you have few problems, and okay, give me $5,000 for those few problems. I would be like, what problems? What's the situation? Is the problem fatal, or is it just ordinary flu? Am I going to survive this? And why $5,000? It sounds expensive. What do I need to do? MRI, scans, or are you just charging me $5,000 because that's your service, right? Because whenever there is a sense of ambiguity, a part of your brain and your mind freaks out, right? And this is where clients become very nervous. Potential leads become nervous that they are not able to see that clarity. And this is where it absolutely plummets your value pretty rapidly. Okay, so let's dive a little bit deeper into the 3 myths of high value clients. Now, one of the first allegation, okay, so if this is you, just listen up. The first allegation that I have is I don't feel good enough, hence how can I charge more, right? Now the reality is, however, clients care about their results more than how you feel about yourself. How are you uniquely solving their problems, right? Going back to the example of the doctor, if you are sick, do you care honestly in your heart of hearts? Do you care whether the doctor actually is having a good day or not? I mean, you might care at a little bit at a human level. I get that. But is that the prime reason why you are showing up there at that point? No, right? You are showing up there so that your problem can be fixed. So similarly, when you are having all these conversations about yourself, from an external point of view, the guy just sees, oh, this person is a business strategist who can solve my problem. Okay, let's see how he or she can actually solve my problem. Right? Or this person is a naturopath. How can she restore me to my prime health? This is my concern. Right? This is the reality of the situation. So if you are somebody who is going and running this tape inside of you, you can pause it right now and say that, okay, I can charge more, not because how I feel. I can charge more because of the value that I'm creating for my client. Right? The second most allegation that I have heard about is, if they are already so successful, why would they need me? Okay. Now the reality is, the more successful one becomes, the more help and reliability they need. They need to work with people who are reliable in their lives. Okay. One of the key things that I have seen in hanging out with the likes of Ralph and Miro and Jeff and Kane and all those people is that there needs to be a certain amount of structure to the process. There needs to be a certain amount of people who can handle all the work that's going on in their space. So if you're becoming more successful, there are a lot of weak areas that you won't be able to cover. And this is when you need people who can understand your business, who can step into that role for you and be able to support you. So if they are already successful in whatever it is that they are doing, actually they have a greater need for your services rather than lesser need for it. So one key thing is that if you have potential clients who you want to court, who you want to be with, find out about their business, find out about where are their weak areas, how can you complement something that is not working in their lives. And that is when you can have the most amazing value creation opportunity, the most amazing value creation conversation with them, right? So the third one is, they are much smarter and powerful than me, and I feel dumb enough to not be able to provide my services. Okay, great. In reality, you have lost the client the moment you see them as anything more than a human being with an emotional problem. This is something that I learned very powerfully from my coach, Brian Franklin. He said to me once on a call that I was asking him about something, and I was getting too complex about working with this one client and how the structures are and how things were happening. He said, Mihir, tell me, what is the real emotional problem that this person is struggling with? Where is this person emotionally stuck? And I had no answer for that at that point. He's like, okay, this tells me that you have complicated the problem by focusing on everything else, by looking at this person more for the designation, because this was an executive of a big company. And I was like I was a bit like, okay, how do I approach this executive who has access to so much resources and power and things like that? But I forgot that I was invited in that space with him to work with him for something. So this is when precisely it sunk in, that we stop looking at other people as anything more than what they are. Just look at them as another human being who wears the pants the same way, one leg at a time, and they have some problem that only you are uniquely positioned to solve for them. So this is one of the biggest myths that prevents you from actually having a high value client, this internal conversation about it. Right? Now there's a bonus myth, and I would credit Debbie for that. She brought it up for me. She said, high-paying clients are much harder to work with. Now, if you are somebody who believes that, then you will actually create a lot more of hard work for yourself when there shouldn't be any. Okay? In reality, high-paying clients have actually understood the value equation well. So for them, they are absolutely focused on the goal that they are moving towards. So the more you come in a space where you can provide those resources, you can provide your services that will actually help them move in the direction of their goal, they will continuously keep seeing the value of having you in the system, right? So high-paying clients are actually much more sophisticated to work with in a certain way, because they have the infrastructures that are already there in place, and to a certain degree they know how to operate those infrastructures. And this is why it becomes a lot more easier to just go in there, have a conversation about, oh, okay, these are the things that are working, how is it working? Because if they are high paying, they are creating a high turnover for their businesses, right? So your job is, at that point, is to go in and look at the whole system. So these are some of the key myths that people sit in. Now let's change gears a little bit and move a little bit into the space of the heart. Where does the heart come in with all of this, right? So I've been talking a lot about the heart for a while. What I'm absolutely referring to about the heart when I talk about the heart is that there is an aspect of us. It is an intangible one. There's no physical point in it, but there is a kinesthetic connection that we build with the center of our chest. That's where our heart lies, technically speaking. Okay. So I want all of you to do this one thing actually. How about just touch your palm in the center of your chest, in the picture where the heart is shown. So just touch your heart, like in the center of your chest somewhere. Just touch that. Okay. And now as you touch that, just gently allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're deeply feeling in your heart in this very moment. Some of you might say, oh, I don't feel anything. That's okay. Some of you might say, I feel gentle, I feel maybe quiet, I feel peaceful. Some of you might say, oh, I feel a little bit unsure. Okay, that's all cool as well. So the key indicator here is that, are you able to feel any emotion or feeling at this point right now in wherever you are? Okay, so This is how heart actually communicates with you as to what is really happening. For example, just feel how you feel when you think about the one that you love in your life. While to keep on touching the center of your chest, how do you feel when you think about the one that you love or you care about? What kind of feelings does it evoke in a kinesthetic sense in your chest space? So you can type this actually, if you like, please. I'm just curious to know what it is that you're experiencing as you do this. So how many of you are able to just feel something? Let's say it doesn't have to be accurate. You just say, oh, I'm not sure, but I think I feel this. Even that's okay. Would you mind typing it in and letting me know what's going on? So the exercise is that you touch the center of your chest and just allow yourself to feel what you feel when you think about somebody that you deeply care about. Okay, gratitude. Thank you, Susie. What else? I'm sure there are a lot of people on this call. Just want to make sure that you are awake and I haven't put you to sleep. Love, warmth, expansion. Debbie, thank you. What else? Caroline, peace, calm and happy. Martha, joy, love, excitement and gratitude. Yep. Fletcher, happy. Good. Warmth and happy. Yeah. So can you see these are all absolute kinesthetic feelings that you are actually already experiencing within you. Okay. Now, while continuing to do this, try this next thing. Feel the energy, feel how you're feeling when on this call right now. How is the feeling on this call that you're feeling? So now that you're listening to this conversation, how is your heart feeling right now in this moment as you are connected to everybody else on this chat and on this call? Natasha, calmness, great, thank you. So you can type in, what do you feel now that you are on this call and you are connected to everybody? If there is this is the energetic aspect of things, that every group, every conversation, and there's a reason why I'm doing this, because this is something that will help absolutely drive your conversions and your conversations with your clients at a much bigger level. So if you want to play a bigger game, then just participate on this, please. So how is the feeling? Peaceful, calmness, warm and fuzzy, gratitude, joy, nice, good. Thank you. Calm and balanced, good. So each and every one of you on this call actually is able to feel the collective energy of the group that's here. You're all able to feel what you are feeling inside of you, and at the same time you are actually able to feel everything else that is happening in the group. You are being able to feel the same, to a greater degree, the similar energy that's sitting in at this point. Yeah. So from a heart point of view, why is the heart so important? Right? The heart is the center of your feeling and higher consciousness. What that means is that your heart actually is capable of showing you information that is not biased by our own biases, our own judgments, our own beliefs and concepts. Okay, and at the deepest, most fundamental level, it actually knows the solution to your challenges and those of others too. Now, if you don't take away anything from our call tonight, if you just remember this much, because this has been the guiding thing for me in my life that has taken me out of those slums and has brought me into this amazing life that I'm actually experiencing right now. That your heart knows what needs to be done, where you need to go when you are experiencing challenges, and it becomes one of the most amazing resource points when you are working with your clients, especially when you are in the sales process for your clients, because it shows you exactly, you can feel it right away what it is and where is it that your client is absolutely stuck. Okay, so this is where how you can start slowly gradually developing the strength in your heart to be able to feel. Why does this matter? It matters for one simple reason. Think about if somebody is hiding something that they have an intention of just getting your sale versus not really helping you. Your heart actually, kinesthetically, you know that experience when you have been around other people who don't have the highest of intentions for you. Now imagine if you are a coach who's supposed to be serving others, if you are a practitioner, if you're a service-based person or a consultant, if you're trying to grow your business which relies on other people buying in from you, people, their hearts will be able to feel whatever it is that you're deeply holding for them, right? You cannot hide it. At some level, somebody says, oh, I really want to work with this guy, right? It's great, because at some level, their heart is feeling something that they know is true, that this person is actually able to support them. And this is precisely where sales has become icky, because far too often, there are salespeople who want to sell something, but their whole intention is actually just to sell. It's not centered around really helping you succeed at a deeper level. I mean, there are some amazing heart-centered salespeople who don't know that about themselves yet, but that they are doing the right thing in many ways. But there are many others who actually are consciously driving just the sales process to get your sale. So how can we take this conversation a little bit deeper? I know this gets a little bit woo-woo, but bear with me for 5 more minutes and we will change gears again. So what does this mean? So let's say you are having a conversation with a potential lead. Okay, just imagine yourself sitting in front of them. Now, their heart is able to feel everything that you are able to feel in you, and your heart is able to feel everything about them. Okay, what this means is that, let's say I'm sitting with a client, and if I'm truly allowing my heart to guide me, I'm actually able to see their strengths and their weaknesses and where they are emotionally stuck. This is something that they are not able to fully appreciate and feel and see about themselves at this point. Okay? Second thing, when you are in tune with your heart, you can also see the solution that is best for them to be able to move forward, for them to move forward in their life. Okay? So here you are sitting in front of them, right? From their point of view, what do they see? They see somebody who is actually able to feel everything that they are feeling, their pain, their struggles, etc. But they are actually also able to see in you the solution that is best for them, right? So it's in a way like you're 100% yourself and you're 100% them. You are able to hold the paradox, that energy about being able to feel the solution for them and being able to feel their pain and struggle in the same energy, in the same space. This is where you become absolutely invaluable to them, because this is what they've been looking for. Okay, they have been looking for somebody to give them that kinesthetic experience of, is there anybody who feels what I feel, and is there anybody who knows how to overcome what I feel? Now, if you can embody what you can feel in your own heart about them as a solution, and if you can embody what you can feel about them as their pain, then you have become the go-to person for them to succeed in their business. All right? It takes a little bit of practice, but it's easily achievable. And when you do this, you will actually, instead of, if somebody says, oh, I have problems with lead generation, okay, and if I'm sitting in that space with them, in that energetic space, in fact, one of my clients actually had that problem, and what she said was, oh, I am not able to find the right set of people who want to work with me. But energetically, there was this whole fear that she was holding on to. Now, I could have gone down the strategic path of saying, oh, let's create a splash page and let's send more traffic to the site and let's get more people to sign up for you and blah, 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 blah. We could have done all that surface level stuff. But still, it wouldn't change the kinesthetic experience because she would have sabotaged it. Okay. The key experience that she was looking for was somebody to acknowledge within her by saying that, hey, you are actually afraid. And that was the feeling that I was experiencing, the experience I was having of her in that space was, you are actually afraid to take the next step because you know that when you are successful, it is something that is not easily acceptable in your current circumstances. That it is something that is not easily acceptable in the family of origin where you come from. Okay, so that would freak her out, and she was in tears at that point. She said, I've been to so many people, so many coaches, and they haven't been able to see this part of it. Okay, all right, thank you for allowing me to be in that space with you. Now you tell me how that conversation went from that point on. Was it easy for me to be able to say, okay, so would you like to work together, and how, okay, so if we are to work together, we can create these amazing things. And they do go about creating it, because remember, you are dealing with a human being who has an emotional problem that is manifesting as a physical thing somewhere, right? Now then, when you have clarified all those things, that's when the business strategies and all those aspects, they are required. So I'm not negating the need for creating the infrastructure, but just that solving something, solving a symptom without solving the root is something that doesn't get you the high paying clients or the results. So so just a key 3 steps takeaway if you want to practice this on your own. The steps to be able to feel and access your heart is just touch your heart whenever you get a moment, just like that. Smile to your heart sweetly, freely, till you feel a nice feeling within you, because it's your heart, you have full rights to access it, right? And then to practice it, don't smile to your heart, smile to your heart and follow the kinesthetic feeling that strengthens your heart, right? And as you allow that process to happen stronger, your energy from your heart will grow a lot more stronger. Okay, so, and you can try. So when you are, let's say, if you are not able to feel your heart properly, do one thing, just switch to your brain, do some complex mathematical problem, all right? Multiply 2 large numbers and see how your brain works at that point. And then try again touching your heart and smiling to your heart. That's when the differences between your brain and your heart will become extremely clear. And when you are able to do that, you can just intend to switch from your brain into your heart. So just enjoying the nice, beautiful feeling from your heart, just being in that energy, because that is what really your clients are looking for, that deeper acknowledgement of being able to solve the problems. And this is something your heart can powerfully, easily, and properly do that. Okay, so I'm not just saying that you just go and just do this, but use that energy to be able to structure your sales process and the sales conversation around it. Okay, now how do I know this works for me or not? This is because I work, another friend of mine, she is based in Calgary in Canada, and we started working, and she was absolutely struggling in a dead-end job, and we started doing a lot of work with the heart, creating a bit more of a mindset change and business strategies for her to get out of wherever she was in that space. And the exit and the strategy and everything, the way it worked out for her was that she got an amazing redundancy package from that workplace. She ended up in another high 6-figure job that she had never ever experienced in her life. And this was all within few weeks of actually us doing some of the change work that we did fundamentally at the heart level, at the mind level, and at the physical strategic level. So to be able to put this properly in a different context, how your heart and brain is supposed to interwork and how you can then use it in the sales process, is that your heart, it actually supplies the knowing, it supplies the intent and holds the highest good for you and your prospects, yeah, for your leads. While your brain, it supports a very structured approach to lead your prospect through a process that you can use in order to create the sales conversation, right? So if I were to compare, let's say, a non-heart-based sales process, to a greater degree, it's designed, the intent here is of importance, okay? The process is designed like, okay, establish your rapport. So they would say, okay, like I was at Flinders Street Station the other day, and this guy walks up to me and he said, so sir, do you have a child? I said, yes, I have an 8-year-old boy. He said, okay, great. We care about children. I'm like, that's great. So do you care about children? I said, of course, I care about my child and I care about other kids as well. Okay, great. So I have this offer. How would you like to pay, by cash or card? Okay, that was the level of rapport he had established, and before he pitched me the offer, because he just didn't give a damn about the cause he was doing. Right? So this was a very good example of an icky, non-heart-based sales process, where the guy was trying to, establish the rapport, we find out the needs. In this case, it was so bad that there was no creation of needs of whether I needed that or not in the first place. And then in general, what I've experienced is that they start talking to you about, hey, what is it that you need? How can you go, like, and why aren't you able to achieve these things? And you raise all these objections, and they try to mitigate those objections by giving you different statements. Okay, so if you don't do anything about this right now, how is it going to unfold for you? And essentially enhancing your pain of not doing something. And then they offer them as the only solution, and they close the sale. Because energetically, you can feel, if you're fine-tuned with your heart, which everybody is actually in a greater sense, especially the group on this call, you can see that the focus is on closing the sale energetically. It is not really on, to a certain degree, not necessarily on your highest intent, on your highest well-being. Because that is something that any individual who's not connected to their heart, they just can think about it, but feeling and being able to do it is the real expression of your truth about it. Right? I can talk about things that are of great high, the words that sound great, but if the energetic experience around it is not there, then actually you are misleading yourself and others at that point. So this is more of a non-heart-based process, sales process, what it looks like. Now, when we move to a heart-based sales process, there is a level of pre-work that individuals, that we as conscious capitalist conscious individuals who are doing in service from a heart space, that we need to do a little bit of pre-work. One of the key things that needs to be done is you need to be able to establish a personal connection from your heart. And the best connection that you can do is by embodying, by being in your own heart, right? I mean, how does it feel when you are actually too busy with your brain and you are not connected to your heart? As opposed to when you are just fully present, bringing your whole heart, that energy of your being, and allowing others to just be in that space around you. That is amazing connection that you're allowing, you're reminding them of, bringing them to their heart as well. And that's when the clarification, actually the coaching begins from the moment, not from the moment when they sign up with you. The coaching begins the moment a prospect shows up in your energetic space. The moment they get to know about you, they are feeling it. Right? One of the key things that you need to understand about this energetic side of it is that your energy goes beyond space and time. People can feel everything that who you are. They don't need to be physically around you to be able to feel this, right? Because think about this, we are on this call separated by hundreds of kilometers probably, but still we are able to feel the energy of the group, feel the energy of it. So who you are energetically gets transmitted. So the next step you need to do is clarify your inner attitude and intent. How do you really want to work with this client? How do you want to really support this person? Right? This is the hard bit. This is the inner work. Now, one of the key things that actually changed the whole game for me was I was absolutely okay with not having the sale. You know what it did? It took my focus, whatever tiny focus that was there still on the money, it took it away from that, and it actually allowed me to say things that I just could say easily, openly, without fear of losing that client. Because I'd already assumed that, hey, you know what? I'm just going to be true to my heart. I'm just going to say what I need to say, that I'm feeling, experiencing, that I think is of value. All right? I'm not saying be arrogant about it, but just go about in a very gentle, loving way. But at the same time, be okay with not having the sale. Be okay with expressing and embracing your client fully. Okay, here's what I mean. When a client shows up, like, there are many parts of us. Many of those parts we like, and there are many parts that we don't like. Similarly, when a potential lead shows up in your space, there are many aspects of that client that you resonate with, and there are many aspects of the client that the client is struggling with. Okay, this is something that I've learned from my mentor and coach Carl Buchheit and Michelle Masters, where they said that your job as a practitioner or as an individual who's actually doing any sales service related work is to be in rapport with parts of them that they are not in rapport with. Right? Be able to hold energetically all the fullness of your client in that heart-centered energy, because they are already struggling with that part anyway. It doesn't do any good to them with you rejecting that part as well. And this is precisely why they've come to you, that they want those parts to be reintegrated in your being, in their being. Right? So being able to energetically hold that space, being able to embrace all parts of your client fully, and I'm not talking about physically going and embracing them just yet, just energetically allow that embrace process happen, so that they feel that they are fully taking care of every part of them, right? And the key question And the key question that you need to ask is that, how can I help this person? The intent, as opposed to a brain-based sales process, is that how can I truly help this person in furthering the sales conversation? Okay. So just a quick check is, how is everybody finding this so far? Are we finding valuable? Do we want to go deeper, or is this something that is a bit too heavy and too woo-woo for you guys right now? So if you can just type in a bit quickly, and that would help me as well, please. What are some of the key aha experiences, key moments that you are having in this as a result of this conversation? Good, thank you. So let's continue a little bit deeper. So we go a little bit deeper at this point into just understanding the part 2 of the main sales process. Okay, this is the crux of what is it that you do need to do in being, when you are in a sales conversation with your clients, and what is it that a hard-paced process, how it looks and feels different from what from the normal brain-based process. So first and foremost, of course, you do need to know what your client is actually after, what it is that they would like to achieve in their life, what is it that they want to need. And the more you are sitting in a heart space, allowing yourself to experience energetically how you feel when you're around this person, right? Second part of the process is building amazing value with them, right? If they are feeling uncomfortable in a space somewhere, be okay to step into that space with them, okay, just to feel what it feels like for a moment, to experience being them. This is the biggest gift you can give them, right? Because when you are able to connect with your heart can actually help you connect to those parts as well that they are struggling with. If they are feeling pain, frustration, just for a fraction of a second, allow yourself to experience that experience of pain and frustration completely, okay? And then speak what you're truly feeling, because there is something that has a level of shame, guilt, fear that they are trying to hide unconsciously, okay, that they are not consciously hiding sometimes, but unconsciously they are trying to hide about what it is that is challenging them. So I would say something like, hey, I'm not sure where this is coming from, but the experience that I'm having of you or about this situation is that there seems to be a lot of pain and frustration, and I don't know, maybe I feel that maybe you are kind of like struggling to be able to do these things, and you could say that the 3 things that they need to be doing, that they would like to do. So essentially being able to say things that other coaches wouldn't say, other practitioners wouldn't say, other service providers, you can just sit in that space and allow things to be brought up. Even if it's, I've tried this even in a corporate environment, saying that I don't know why, Bill, I'm feeling a lot of frustration around this. I don't know, what am I missing here? Help me understand this a little bit more, right? So all I would do is I would just insert whatever emotion that they are struggling with the most, and I would just bring it in. So, and they would say, oh, okay, yeah, there was an issue with this thing, and this is the frustration part of it. And that's when it allows them to see you as somebody who is actually very in tune with what's going on. Okay? Now, this one is the absolute key. When you are doing all this, make sure that you are actually also tuning in, you are connecting to the knowingness within you about the solution that is best for you. Now, your conscious mind doesn't need to know this. You just need to embody a state of knowingness. You can allow that energetic experience of knowing that, okay, our paths have crossed, which means that at some level I do have a knowingness about the solution for this person. How can I just allow that knowingness to come through, and just connecting to that knowingness within you? All right. At that time, just allow all your concepts, ideas, biases to just move away for a second. Listen, don't listen to the symptoms at that point. Pay attention to the energetic aspects at that point. So when you are actually holding on to the knowingness of their solution, right? And when you're holding on to that state, they can absolutely feel that, oh, this person knows something about the solution, and I want to work with this. I want to work with him. This is the key part that changes everything in your sales process. And this is a state you can embody in the background all along. Now, the one thing that you do need to tell them is that qualify them if you can really help them, right? I believe I can work with you and take you on board as my client. Would you like to hire me as your coach? Ask them openly about it, because you know that at a deeper level, your knowingness is coming through very powerfully, right? And then at that point, you say, okay, so to be able to do this together, is this a fair price? Is this a fair investment? So you can use some aspects of the sales process that you may have encountered, that you may have used. But at this point, when you have created enough knowingness, enough energetic rapport, enough holding the space for them to not be able to hide in whatever it is that they're struggling with, then when you pitch the price, it becomes an absolute no-brainer that they will say yes, more, very likely, highly likely. Okay, and that's the experience that I've been having. And then the final thing that you can do is initiate the next step as if the coaching has already begun. So you say, okay, so this is what we are going to do. This is how the strategy, we need to start working on this thing, because you just want to have them continue and not be stuck in that state of like, oh, okay, all right, now what? So energetically, they want to move into that solution that you are actually embodying and physically present with at that point. So you need to bring them a little bit closer in that heart-based space. Okay. Now, many of you have asked, how can I charge more? Here is a simple rule of thumb that I use. These are a few different things. Many of these might be more valuable for me. If none of these are valuable for charging more, just throw them all out. Try what works for you, okay? The first rule of thumb that I use is that whenever a client comes to me, they are committed on a financial, if they are committed on a financial outcome, let's say they say, oh, in the next 6 months that I want to work with you, in the next 12 months that I want to work with you, I want to achieve $500,000 in my business. Okay. There is a rule which says a 10% of the outcome rule. So what that means is that in general, clients will usually only invest 10% of their annual income in terms of coaching or professional growth or some sort of a business coaching side of it. So if, even though let's say the client is at 100,000 a year, and if they want to go to 500,000 a year, right, you are actually creating an outcome where they are signing up for 10% of the outcome. So 10% of 50,000 is what they are energetically capable of paying when they are asking you to work with you at that point. So you can do the maths on it. What is about 12, 12. So about four grand a month is what, essentially around between 4 and 5 grand a month is what they would be willing to pay you. Okay, so you know that roughly that is a number that you can use to pitch to your clients based on the outcome, not on what they're earning. Because when you charge them based on what they're earning, then you're bought into their system energetically, that they are not going to stretch beyond where they are at. Okay. The second thing is a simple feel, right? For example, if I were to tell you right now, if I were to say 2 plus 2 is 7, okay? All of your body, your energetic kinesthetic feel goes a little bit like, no, right? If I say 2 plus 2 is 4, that feels like just right. So there is an energetic current, a buzz that flows through your being for your body. The moment you say, oh, how does it charge? How does it feel to charge? Just telling yourself 3,500 a month. Then you charge your new client, and your body says, okay, congruent, feels right. Say that amount. There is no solid rule about it. This is something that you feel comfortable in terms of creating the best value that the client will engage for. Because if you are providing very high service at extremely cheap price, then you are actually devaluing it. And if the client has outgrown that energetically, they will not buy into you anymore. So even if your product is too cheap, they will not actually buy into it, because energetically they feel like they're not ready to make a low investment. They feel ready to make a higher investment. Now, the third thing that I like to do normally is, because energetically you need to maintain that rapport in a coaching process, and it happens to me quite often that clients achieve their results very quickly within few weeks to few months, instead of even if the agreement is for 6 months to a year, sometimes they achieve the results within 2 to 3 months. So then I already pre-built it in, saying that once we have achieved your results rapidly, would you be okay if we revisited our agreement, right? Because that allows you to reset the agreement and create a new framework in which the new set of results can be healthily supported. Now, and the next thing I do is make it more of a monthly game. Okay, play with them on a monthly basis, as opposed to having a per session type of a charge or a per hour type of a thing. Just equate it out to, we will work together on a monthly basis. The fees are $1,000 a month, and we work few times a month together, and we work on your strategy till you start achieving the success that you want to achieve. So just be available, give them the ease, because the brain processes things in a very much of a monthly methodical way. Right? So these are few of the things that your clients actually that will benefit your current practice, whatever that may be. You are a coach, consultant, designer, doesn't matter. The same model applies to a greater degree. Okay? Now, at the end of the day, what is it that the client really, truly, truly wants to know? Right? At the end of the day, your client just wants to know one thing from you. Can I really trust you in seeing this through? All right, energetically. Can I really trust you in seeing this through and going into places where I'm afraid to go inside of me? That is the deepest, no matter even if you're coaching a $3 billion executive, or if you're coaching a 100,000 a year business, doesn't matter. This is the end game. Is the clients really want to know, are you somebody who's capable enough of seeing this through and allowing me to access those parts of me that have the solution within me? Are you willing to go there? Right? For example, let's say if you have issues with anger, being able to not control your anger. And if someone comes to you who has anger issues, right, energetically they feel that you are not the right person for them, because at some level you are not willing to go inside of you where they need to go, and that's why they don't see you as useful, right? But if you are somebody who has worked through your own heart stuff or your own emotional stuff in that way, and if you're able to go into places where the client wouldn't go, then you are actually of biggest value to the client. So this is what your clients truly, deeply want to know. And when you do that, this is something that happens. This is another client of mine, Mary Paleologos. She's a hypnotherapist, and she is a very renowned blogger on Huffington Post, to the point that even she got in touch with those of you who know Arianna Huffington. She personally got in touch with her and said, okay, you need to work with us, and this is what we need to do. So when we started, the client base was extremely sporadic, the credibility was really low, and there was just no growth. Right? Within 30 days of us working together, she doubled her client base. Within 45 days, she was a published blogger with Huffington Post. 60 days, she started fulfilling her mission. She wanted to go out, and she's an amazing lady who has amazing life experience. She has had bulimia, anorexia, and stroke. And then she wants to create this awareness in schools for young girls, that how their self-image is so important, and she's doing a brilliant job. So when we started working together, and this is just within few weeks of us doing.
Hi, my name is Mary Paleologos, and I'm a transformational coach, a hypnotherapist, and a counsellor. I started working with Mihia to address some of my limiting beliefs around money and financial abundance. And I have to say, in the last month, amazing things have happened. Things have opened up for me, business possibilities that I could not see before, and my clientele has doubled. And this is just the beginning. There's something about Mihia. He has the ability and the gifts to innately know what's actually holding you back, address them, and help you move forward. If you're thinking in the future to do a one-on-one with him or attend one of his workshops, I actually highly recommend it.
So that's her. So here's what I would like for you to be able to achieve actually in the next 6 months, which is a It's an easy target, I think, for many people on this call, given the energetic and the heart condition that I'm feeling. What I want you to be able to experience in your own business and in your own life is a fully sustainable, cash flow rich business. Okay. Increase your sales conversions by at least 2 to 5 times, and that is significantly achievable once you start being able to use your heart and the sales process that I usually teach my clients. And have more time for yourself at the end of the day, right? Because if you're just going to be busy at the end of the day playing the money game, but without any time to be able to enjoy that, it's absolutely meaningless, to at least for me, right? And then be able to redesign your business mindset and your life basically for rapid growth. Okay. Just to give you an example, there's another client of mine who's actually, we started working in March. Okay, not too long ago. This is this year happening right now. And when we started, he's a business coach himself. When we started working together, he had 3 jobs. He was employed as a business manager. He was running his own kitchen business, and he does his own business coaching as well. Now, within 3 days of us working together and just doing some of the hard work and the transformation and the change work, he had 118,000 extra suddenly in his coaching business. Now, this video was taken this was within few days. Okay, so now he's achieved, actually he's tripled his it's been around 80 days, and he has already tripled his turnover. Instead of what he had as an annual goal of 12 months, he's achieved it within 2 to 3 months. Okay, and he's heading for the big 7 figures at this point. So he's on track with crossing all his goals in a very powerful way. And this is what he had to share.
I started working with me here in the beginning of March because I wanted to double my coaching business and also only be working 3 to 4 days a week. 3 days after the first session with me here, I was able to generate an extra $118,000 in sales for my coaching business. We're only a month in now and well underway to achieving the goal. I highly recommend working with me here to anybody. He's a phenomenal coach and holds such a brilliant space to allow you to really grow to your true potential. So anyone who's thinking about working with me here, don't hesitate, just sign straight up. Thank you.
Okay, so here's how I want you to be able to achieve all these goals, because this is a system that I've developed over the last many years, and it has my life's work in it. It's called the Money Experience System. This is something that I teach as a workshop for 3 days. These are the techniques, some of the techniques in here is something that I work with on one-on-one with my clients as well, right? So just to give you a little bit more detail on how my system works, it is not something that you can just opt into. It is something that I absolutely love qualifying people into, because there is a level of hard readiness, there is a level of hard preparation that needs to go into it. So what needs to happen if you are somebody who's curious about what this is going to do for you, is that we need to connect first for 60 minutes at least. We need to have a conversation properly to see if this is right for you, right? What we do is we go through that call. We absolutely unpack your business together. We see everything that's working, what's not working, the emotional side of it, the business side of it, the strategies. Right? So essentially, one of the key aspects of this learning that I've had over after hundreds of thousands of, at least tens of thousands of dollars later and 35 years later, is that you need somebody who's outside your ecosystem who won't buy into your stuff, so that's the only way your system can expand and grow, when you're working with somebody who can see that from an outside perspective. So that's the support that I would provide in that 60 minutes, to be able to unpack your business, to be able to grow your services. Okay, and then at the end of it, if we believe that we are a match, that we can do business together, then either one of those 2 things will happen. Either we end up working as in a 3-day program through the Money Experience System, or we do end up doing one-on-one coaching to be able to continue your business further. Okay, so once you qualify though, this is what you will get. So for those of you who are pressed for time, I just won't take more than 5 more minutes. So if you can just hang around, that'd be really great. So essentially, as part of the Money Experience System, the process, once you qualify, you will have access to a complete 2-hour business success strategy session. So we map out your complete existing where your business is at, what is it that you really want to achieve, how far and how quickly do you want to go for. Okay, so we do a complete deep dive into your business success strategy session. That is part of the process. The other thing that you do if you are at the workshop is we walk people through. There are over 30 plus some of the top cutting edge behavioral and mindset change techniques. All of these are built on the substrate of your heart, but there is a deeper level of belief system work that changes your relationship with your business, that changes your relationship with money actually, repeatedly. And this is something that we do at a very powerful level, so that your mind, your body can integrate it while you are there at the event itself. Okay. Then after the call, after one of those events, either through one-on-one coaching or if you are in the Money Experience Workshop, you will have access to 6 1-hour rapid growth mastermind calls. So these are the calls that are designed to actually handhold you through your challenges that you are going through as a result of implementing the changes in your personal life, be it at a mindset level or in your business. So we will talk about ways in which you can generate more traffic, you can generate more leads, how you can get more speaking engagements, how you can get more access to other resources in different companies, be it for your graphic designing business, be it for your naturopath business, or even if you are a coach, how to get and work with more coaches, what are the programs that you can create at that level. Okay, so these in itself are amazingly valuable if you want to do that. And you will have, of course, this is something that I can actually send out as my gift to you even now. It's called the Money Experience ebook, which itself has over 100 plus belief systems that individuals usually get entangled with when it comes to money. And there are also techniques that you can use to untangle yourself from those belief systems pretty rapidly. Okay. Now, one of the other key things that we do at the event is we do a personalized heart and business readiness assessment. So I will be working with you one-on-one so as to find out where you are from a heart point of view. What is it that you're entangled with? How is it that you can open and have an amazing experience of coming from a really heart-centered space and be successful and show up as amazingly powerful in whatever it is that you're doing. Right? And then we'll also share with you some amazing templates, tools, and audios and things that you can use right away in your business. So these are some tried and tested things, that these are tools that every business owner should basically have access to, that they should be able to apply in their business anytime they want to be able to change and start creating the revenue process that they are looking for, the turnovers that they are looking for. Okay. Another thing that I include is a high-value sales conversion process coaching. So I will be actually sitting with you one-on-one through this process and teaching you how actually you can improve your sales conversions. Where is it that you are really getting stuck? Okay. We bring in the heart, we bring in the mind, we bring in every aspect of us, and we just create that most amazing space for your prospects to actually want to work with you, and you being comfortable with saying, hey, you know what, instead of 5 grand, actually I'm going to charge 10 grand for this service. Right? It's a process, and I will be hand-holding you through this one-on-one. So there is a certain group of people that I'm actually looking for, and for those of you, I've had the opportunity to work with and be around somebody by the name of Jeffrey Slater. So those of you who don't know, you should check him out. He's been on stage with his system has coached over 3 million people worldwide. And I've had the opportunity to have these amazing heart-based conversations because I love hanging out with other heart-based coaches and entrepreneurs in my space. And so this is what he had to say. So what do you think about the hard work that I do? And
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Slater, and after training in countries all over the world and having worked with over 3 million people, both online and offline, and having shared the stages with some of the biggest thought leaders in the world, like Sir Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, Dr. Demartini from The Secret, Donald Trump, and many more, I've seen a lot of what works and a lot of trainings that don't work. And Mahir, I'm here to share with you a little about Mahir. Mahir has an incredible ability to be able to mix the world of money, which sometimes can be confusing. I know after having made millions, lost millions, and built it back again, I've noticed that the money world and the, I guess, for lack of a better term, the spiritual world, there can be some confusion between the two. But actually, they can be quite integrated quite well. And Mahir has a course called the Money Experience, which is just an incredible course on helping you bring the spiritual world and the money world together so you can start being okay making the money that you want in the ways that you want to make it. Making real money doing what you love. I mean, That's exactly what there is to do. And Mihir's got that down. So if you're looking to actually do that, I highly recommend Mihir, his ability to add more heart to money and be able to bring money into your life in the ways that you want it. Take care.
So, extremely happy and excited when I got that testimonial from him unasked, actually. So this is something that I have a certain group of people that I do want to work with. So who is this for? If you are somebody who is a coach, a consultant, a trainer, entrepreneur, sales specialist, network marketer, so anyone who is actually in the value creation process, okay? If you're a small business owner who wants to basically make a conscious impact in this world, all right? Not just for the sake of earning money. This is something for them. And essentially, as a result of that, I've said, who is this not for as well? I don't want to work with people who have an energy of whinging, complaining, are lazy. Right? If you are somebody who's more like a seminar junkie, just wants to go from one event to the other, and who don't want to invest in yourself and don't want to take any action as a result of this, then you would be better placed saving your money somewhere else. All right, you make that investment somewhere else. So. As a result of this, here's what I would like to share. So what's next? How do we go about progressing with this? As I said, this is not for everybody. This is for just 10 people on this call. What we need to do is we need to connect. We need to speak for 60 minutes. And at the end of that 60 minutes, we will decide how is it a best match for you to work with me or not, because I want to be true to my own message, is that providing high integrity in whether I can support you or not in your business. Okay. Now, usually, as you know, that there is an investment that when people pay, they pay attention. So I want you to get something out of that call as well, and not just walk away with just another discussion about something. It needs to be a transformative experience for you and for me. And at the end of that call, you will basically walk away with absolute clarity on where your real challenges are, where your business is stuck, and at least 3 different ways on how you can move it forward, regardless of whether we work from that point onwards or not. Right? So all I ask is that just for that one call for 60 minutes, we connect together, and usually I charge $375 for that call. But just for this event, for people on this call, it is $97 as a deposit. So why is it a deposit? Because if you decide to work with me, then I will just use that $97 as the payment towards either the Money Experience workshop, or we use it as an investment for your coaching service, for my coaching services. However, at the end of that call, if you believe that there was no value in sitting in that call and you knew everything about it, then I'll be more than happy to just refund your $97 directly at that point. Okay. So this is an investment, and this is again for 10 people. I'll get to how you can actually work with me on that one. But this $97 is only for that 1 hour call, for 1 hour conversation, for us to be able to unpack your business, for me to be able to look at it from an outsider's perspective, bring in the heart energy about it, and really see what it is that is the best path for monetization on your business. Okay. And if you are still unsure what is it that you really get, I have one last person who I consider is one of the most successful entrepreneurs that is out there. And again, this was a gift from him, which I wasn't expecting. So he said, okay, here, this is something that the world needs to know about what you do. So, and this is the last testimonial. So I won't bore you with more videos, and we will get to the next last part in one.
Hi, this is Ralph Anania, international business coach, best-selling author, and award-winning entrepreneur. I've spent 30 years building and running my own successful businesses, where I've built 26 multi-million-dollar companies, taking one of them from 0 to 130 million in annual revenue. And today I want to share with you a little bit about a good friend of mine, Mihir Thakur. The work that Mihir does is phenomenal. I've had not only the opportunity to work with Mihir personally, but also on a business level. And his coaching, his strategies and technique, the work that he does is second to none. So if you're looking to engage with Mihir, I highly recommend him. His #1 interest is your success. And this is coming from someone who has trained thousands of people around the world on how to build successful businesses. And Mihir is certainly up there with the best of them.
So this is a bit teary and grateful, because I never expected Ralph to be able to provide that. He's somebody who's so powerful in his business and in the way he goes about doing his business, and I have so much respect for this man. and to be able to hear this from him is certainly deeply gratifying. So again, I'm assuming the full risk of you being on that call with me. That if it doesn't work for you, if you feel that there was no value, we walk away and you get your money back. Absolutely. All right. So how can we get access to this thing? What you need to do is just go to this link. It's called themoneyexperiencesystem.com/get access now. Okay. So just go to that link, and what you're going to see, there are only 10 spots, $97 deposit. Go to that link now. What you're going to see is that you will see a screen which shows you a splash page where you can actually book your call. So when you click on that green button there, you're going to see information that will take you to a PayPal payment page. So if you are somebody who does not have a PayPal account, don't worry, because you can, of course, I'm sure everybody on this call knows that you can access the payment system with your credit card. Now, here's the important part. Once you have made the payment, you will see a screen which says return to Mihir Thakur, and you need to click that link. Once you click that link, it will redirect you to another page which is within PayPal, and then it will take you to this scheduling system called TimeTrade. Okay, so go through the PayPal process, click the links that come up after you may have made the payment, and this is where you will be able to schedule a time with me. So with that, I want to just open it up for any final questions or any comments that you have. And I will leave the link on the screen. It's called the Money Experience System/get access now. Okay. So I know those of you who there are maybe if you have a question, if you want to connect with me, just feel free to connect me on Facebook, or just let's have a conversation on this call. And I just wanted to thank you all for an amazing evening, for giving me the opportunity to be able to share my learnings, and I hope this was of value to you as well. All right. So thank you, and I'm just going to switch over to the chat window for a minute before I put the screen back. If there are any last questions, comments, I would be happy to have a conversation with you now. So yeah, Helen, so thanks for your question. How does it work if I do my business in my husband? Yep. Yes, we can do an assessment for both of you actually, because that is in fact, that is one of the most powerful things about doing this, that when you're running a business with your partner, it is important that both of you are actually progressing on the same path. So energetically, is this a good match for you or not to be able to continue that conversation? So if you decide to work with me on that call, I will be happy to have a conversation with you and your husband and to see how your business can be taken to the next level. So any questions? Thanks, Martha. And those of you who want to listen to this conversation again all over, you will receive a link for the for this recording, so you can listen to it at your convenience as well later, and derive whatever nuggets of wisdom that you may have extracted from this for yourself. So again, the link is the moneyexperiencesystem.com/get access now. So just go in there now, book in your time, and let's have a conversation over the next few days. So thank you everyone for being on this call, and I look forward to working with you at some point in future. And if you have any questions, just look me up on Facebook and drop me a note, and we can connect there. All right. Thanks, Fletcher. Okay, so thank you everybody. Have a great evening, and I look forward to connecting with you soon sometime. All right, have a good night. Bye.